यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारि यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी chant these prayers. You all can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading Bhagavad Gita, and every day we have this evening program where we discuss Bhagavad Gita, one verse of Bhagavad Gita. So today the verse which we are going to discuss is verse number 4.14, which is chapter 4, verse number 14. Okay. So we will recite this verse quite a number of times, and then we will go more deeper into it. So you all can repeat after me. I will chant the verse and then you all can repeat. Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spriha Iti mam yo bhijanati Karma bhirna sabadhyate Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spriha Iti mam yo bijanati Karma bhirna sabadhyate Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spriha Iti mam yo bijanati Karma bhirna sabadhyate. So anyone would like to recite or chant? Anyone can lead and then others can follow. Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spriha Iti mam yo bhijanati Karma bhirna sabadhyate. Anyone else would like to?
Namam karmani limpanti
Namam karmani limpanti
Name karma phale spriha
Name karma phale spriha
Imam yo vidanati
Iti mam yo bhijanati
Karma bhina sabadhyate
Karma bhirna sabadhyate. Anyone else would like to chant? One last time.
Namam karmani limpanti
Namam karmani limpanti
Name karma phale spriha
Name karma phale spriha
Imam yo vidanati
Iti mam yo bhijanati
Karma bhina sabadhyate
Karma bhirna sabadhyate. So we will see the word to word meanings. So you all can repeat after me, one by one. Na, never, mam, me, karmani, all kinds of work, limpanti, do affect, na, nor, may, my, karma phale, in fruitive action, spriha, aspiration, iti, does, mam, me, yah, one who, abhijanati, does know, karma bhi, by the reaction of such work, na, never, saha, he, badhyate, becomes entangled. So we will also read the translation and purport. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: there is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Purport: as there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because, because of their propensity for lording it over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for the so called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires the low grade happiness, such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth, although without such rains there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows: Nimittamatram evasau सृजान्यं सर्गकर्मणि प्रधानकारा प्रधानकारणीभूता यतो वै सृज्य शक्तयः. In the material creations, the Lord is only the supreme cause. The immediate cause is material nature, by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and the lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good or bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of material nature. But he is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra 2.1.34, it is confirmed. Vaishamya nirgranyana sapekshatvat. The Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma or fruitive activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, as are the activities of the ordinary living entities, certainly becomes entangled himself in the fruitive reactions. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul fixed in Krishna consciousness. So we'll chant the Mangala Charan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvatamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody for this amazing Bhagavad Gita class. So every day in the evening we have this Bhagavad Gita class where we discuss one verse of Bhagavad Gita. So it's very nice because every verse of Bhagavad Gita is very, very amazing. And when we read the Bhagavad Gita sequentially, then we feel so much happiness, so much bliss. And we will discuss actually what is the aim of Bhagavad Gita. So let's have a quick flashback when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken and why the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So we will discuss about it. So in the very starting, we can see that the battle of Kurukshetra is there, and the Pandavas and the Kauravas are standing, are ready to fight and to kill each other, right, to win the fight. And during that scene, Arjuna, we know that Krishna is acting as a chariot driver of Arjuna, right? So Arjuna is sitting in the back of on the chariot, and then Krishna is there as a driver, as a chariot driver. So Arjuna asks Krishna, requests Krishna that, oh Krishna, please take this chariot in between the two armies, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Why? Because I want to see who all are there in the opposite army with whom we have to fight. I want to see the opposite party. So Krishna takes the chariot in between the two armies. As soon as Krishna comes, and then Krishna asks Arjuna, okay, now you can see. Now behold the armies, right? Behold the opposite party, who all are present. And Arjuna starts seeing. He finds that his relatives are there, his elders are there, his brothers are there, his teacher is there, Dronacharya. So he gets completely bewildered. So this is the setting of Bhagavad Gita, right? This is how Bhagavad Gita, the setting of Bhagavad Gita is set. Arjuna completely gets bewildered, completely gets confused, and he becomes so much depressed. And we can see the Arjuna is a very, very great warrior, right? He has got this kind of opportunity many, many times in his life, the fight, right? Great, great fights. But this never happened with Arjuna, that suddenly before the fight even begins, he completely gets depressed and then he's a very, very great powerful warrior. But how come Arjuna got completely bewildered? And then we see that Arjuna gives so many reasons that Krishna, this is the reason I will not fight. This is the reason I will not fight. So in the first chapter we can see that. So many, many reasons Arjuna gives. That I don't want to fight Krishna. I'll not be able to fight, rather we should say. Then after hearing all these reasons patiently, Krishna doesn't speak. He just hears. Okay, he just hears. Then in the second chapter, Krishna starts speaking. But first, before that, what Arjuna does is one amazing thing, that Arjuna completely surrenders to Krishna. So there's a verse in the second chapter. Karpanya dosho upahat swabhavah pritchami dharma sammudha chetah. Syan. Okay, the other two lines I'm not remembering exactly. But the main phrase or the main words here to observe is dharma sammudha chetah. That, oh Krishna, uh, I don't know what is my duty now. I'm completely bewildered. I'm completely confused. Dharma sammudha chetah. Dharma means duty. What is my duty? I don't know. I forgot. And I'm not able to think, or I'm not able to even realize that what is my duty. What should I do now? I'm completely confused. So then another set of words in the last line, which we can really observe here, is Arjuna says that Shishyasteham Shadi Mam Tvam Prapannam. So Prapannam, what does this word mean? It means surrender. I completely surrender unto you, Krishna. And Shishyasteham. Now Aham means I. Arjuna is saying Shishyaste, that I am your disciple. I am your sir. I'm completely surrendered unto you, and I'm your disciple now. Please guide me. Right. So Arjuna fully surrenders to Krishna, and then Krishna starts speaking. Okay. And we can see why, or okay, what is the aim of Bhagavad Gita? Why Bhagavad Gita is spoken? So we see that the setup here is the war, right? The war is about to begin. The battlefield is there, and then Kauravas are there and Pandavas are there. So the physical situation is same, the physical surroundings are same set of people are there, right? And the aim is fixed, that we have to fight and we have to win. But suddenly Arjuna gets bewildered, and then Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita, right? And at the end we see that the same physical surroundings are still there, same setup is there, same, the soldiers are ready to fight. But what changes? What is the change? The change is transformation of consciousness. Arjuna, who was at the beginning of the, or before even the war began, so Arjuna was completely distressed or depressed or completely bewildered. But the same Arjuna, after the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, in the same situation is same, but he becomes completely inspired, and he is completely completely clear, free of all the doubts, free of all the confusions. So this is what the aim of Bhagavad Gita is. We see that, so Bhagavad Gita inspires a person, or Bhagavad Gita makes a person completely gets free from all types of confusions in life, all types of anxieties and miseries and bewilderments. So when we sequentially go through Bhagavad Gita, understanding each and every concept, and try to apply that in our everyday or day-to-day life, then we see that so much transformation comes, and we get inspired. We get completely free, completely clear. Instead of free, I would say clear, in our thought process, in our consciousness. So Bhagavad Gita is nothing but, the aim of Bhagavad Gita is transformation of consciousness. The physical situations will be same in our life. Whatever we are doing, will be doing, right? The duties which we have will be continuing to doing it. But the only thing which will change is transformation of the consciousness will change. The purpose behind doing everything, we will be clear about the goal of life, and the purpose will change. So that is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. So one such aspect we will discuss today, that how, if we understand these aspects of Bhagavad Gita, one such aspect we will discuss, that when we discuss those aspects and understand and realize those aspects, then we become free from the entanglements of this material world, and we become completely clear about the goal of life, and completely inspired and transformed. So we will be discussing about that one aspect today, and which is very, very important, which is a basis of God realization, we can say. So let's read the translation for today's verse. Today's verse is verse number 4.14, which is 4th chapter, verse number 14. So translation is like this. There is no work that affects me. Now this Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying to Arjuna. Okay, one more thing. Before going to this, the name of the chapter is, you can see, chapter 4, right? So transcendental knowledge. The knowledge which is beyond the material world, beyond the purview of this creation. So that transcendental knowledge, is discussed in this chapter. So the translation is, Krishna is saying to Arjuna that there is no work that affects me. Krishna is saying, nor do I aspire for fruits of action. One who understands this truth, the truth which is spoken in the first line about me, does not become entangled in the fruitive results or reactions of work. Okay, so let's see the purport, and we will understand and analyze each of this translation through this purport, and the purport is given by Srila Prabhupada. As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities. Because why they are getting entangled? Because of their propensity for lording it over the material resources. Okay, there are two aspects which are being spoken here. First of all, we see that everywhere there are laws. For a country there is a law, the constitution. There are a set of laws, which is a constitution. And even this material world is being governed by stringent laws, the law of karma. And there are many, many laws which the modern science is also being able to perceive. For example, the law of gravitation. And so there are many, many laws which are governing the material world, this creation, this cosmic manifestation. And there are many, many laws which are governing the state, the nation. And so like this we see that there are laws everywhere in this material world. But we see that the king is never subject to the laws. The king is never under the laws. The laws are created for the citizens, right? And if someone does something wrong or disobeys the laws, then that particular citizen is punished, right? Because of not following the laws. And the king can take the decision. Similarly, so this analogy we can apply here. Similarly, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, He creates this material world, but now this is very important aspect. This is very, very important observation. He remains aloof from the creation. That is, He is never affected by the creation. He is never affected. So in the first part of the translation, we can see Krishna is saying that there is no work that affects me. So here Krishna is doing the creation, the Lord is doing the creation, and He is creating this material world, but He is never getting affected by the creation. He is always aloof. Right? But when we see now, on the contrary, we see the nature of the living entities. The living entities, like we, right? We are the living entities. And there are different varieties of living entities, different bodies are there. So like human beings, animals, birds, insects, and then demigods, everybody. I mean, they are also considered part of human beings. So different living entities are there, which have also come from the Lord. This material world has also come from the Lord, and the living entities have also emanated from the Lord. So what is the nature of the living entities? On the contrary, the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities. This is nothing but law of karma. So in the third chapter, we discussed about the law of karma, that whatever we do has a reaction. Whatever we do. The living entity can never be spared of the reactions to the work or to the action which he performs. So law of karma is very, very stringent, very, very strict. So it never spares anyone. If someone is, let's say, ignorant of something, for example, we can see this example that a child may not be knowing that if I put my finger in the fire, then it will burn my finger, right? he may not know about it. So, but does it mean that when he actually puts his finger in the fire, it will never get burnt? Does it mean? It will get burnt, right? So, ignorance of the living entity is not an excuse. Even if one does not know about the law of karma, someone may say, right, I don't know about law of karma, I've never heard, I've never read, so I don't believe in it. It doesn't matter. Still, the law of karma will be applicable. So that is why these laws are made by the Lord, by God. So everybody is under the purview of the laws, and these are very, very stringent. And ignorance is not an excuse. So the living entities are entangled, always entangled. They are doing some activity and they are getting entangled or being bound by the reactions. So it's very, very complicated. Let's say I'm doing one activity, I'm getting the reaction of it. When the reaction is coming, I'm again doing some activity or I'm responding to it. So in that response, again I'm doing some activity, right? Again the reaction will come. So in that reaction, when the reaction comes, new reaction, again I'll be doing one activity, I'll be responding to it. Again there will be the reaction of that activity. So it's a cycle, it's going on. That's why this word is used, entangled. It's very difficult to come out of the cycle. This is like a cycle, right? Cycle of action and reaction. So the living entities are always entangled. From time immemorial, they are entangled, completely entangled. And this cycle is going on. The cycle of reaction, actions and reactions, the law of karma. So now we see the position of the Lord and the position of the living entities. Okay, the Lord is never the Lord is never under the law of karma. That we have to understand. He's always above the law of karma. He's transcendental. That's why this chapter is known as transcendental knowledge. So this knowledge is being given by Krishna to Arjuna, to all of us through Arjuna actually, that, oh Arjuna, I am never under the laws of this material world, right? I'm never under the modes of this material world. I'm always transcendental to it. So this aspect we need to understand. It's very, very important. And by the way, we were discussing, I was attending one class, there's a course which is going on. So we were discussing there are three steps to God realization. The first step is to understand the greatness of Lord. When we understand the greatness of Lord, then we as living entities, we understand our own position, right? When we understand the Lord is so great, so much great, so then we understand that how fallen I am, how small and insignificant I am, right? So this is the first step in God realization. Then we move ahead and then we understand the merciful nature of Lord, that the Lord is very, very merciful. He's never partial. Now in the later part of this purport, again, Srila Prabhupada will be mentioning this point, that the Lord is never partial to any living entity, never partial. The Lord is always equal to everybody. He's maintaining everybody. So this example we always we can see that very interesting to note that the ants, are they endeavoring to solve their economic problems? No, they're just living their life and the Lord is supplying them the food. Similarly, the elephant eats so much, tons and tons of food in one single day or in one single time only, at one single time. So at one time, who is supplying that food to an elephant? And there are so many elephants in the entire creation, entire world. Who is supplying, right? So if we analyze like this, every living entity is being maintained by the Lord. But the human beings are busy in solving the economic problem. I was just hearing one lecture just before coming to the class from Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada's lecture. So the same point was being spoken about, that the humans are busy solving their economic problems. But actually the life is so simple. We are not understanding that. In the Vedic civilization, what used to happen is everybody used to have their own lands, own set of lands, and then they used to have cows, and they used to have, in that land they used to cultivate the crops, fruits and vegetables. So what is the need of anything else? They have the milk, which is, we can have so many milk products, and then the milk is very, very nutritious. It can strengthen our intelligence and the whole body. And we have all the fruits and vegetables and the crops. Even when the surplus happens, the crops are surplus, the person can actually sell it and make profit. So there was no need to complicate the things so much. Nowadays we are complicating the things, and then so we can see that whatever we are, so the human beings are trying to solve one problem of life, and then they are creating 10 more problems, more number of problems. Then they are solving each and every of those problems. Then they are creating again a set of problems from each of the problems. So the problems are growing, but the solution is not coming. It's a very, very interesting point to understand or to note. And this is very practical. We can see all around us. Pollution, 5G, it is producing cancerous effects. AI, I was just reading the godfather of AI. I forgot his name. He was in Google, and then he left and he, you know, had a startup, and then he was working on AI. And this Chat GPT came up. So he was saying that now my whole focus, I just left. I'm not working on AI anymore. I will just, spend my rest of life to educate people that, or to work on in this aspect or in this path, that how AI can affect the human beings and it can destroy the human race. So I will try to educate people about it, and we will work together about solving this problem now. So AI, is coming up, and the other set of problems are coming. So every problem, every solution is bringing more and more problems. So this is very, very interesting to note in the material world. We can never become free of problems. The life is simple, but we are complicating it. So the point which we're making is the Lord is never impartial to anybody. He's equal to everybody. But obviously the pure devotees of the Lord who take shelter of the Lord always. So the Lord, because they are dependent on the Lord, so Lord takes care of them at every moment. But the Lord is never partial to anybody. He's equal to everybody. So this aspect is very, very important again to understand. Now if we go further in the purport, yeah. So this particular point. The Lord is never partial to any living entity, and the living entity is responsible for his own acts. Now again, this is law of karma. So the Lord has created this world, and he's aloof. Okay, he's not taking. He's not basically interfering in anyone's life. In terms of the activities or the desires, every living entity has has been given free will by the Lord to desire, right? So in this world, what is happening is one more thing in the same context Srila Prabhupada was mentioning above, that why the living entities are getting entangled, right? Because there was one line. So the living entities are entangled in the results of the material activities, fruitive results, because of their propensity to lording it over the material resources. That's what is happening. Every living entity, or every human being, we can talk about the human beings, they want to lord it over the material nature. Right? They want to exploit the resources of material nature. And we can see the repercussions of all this, right? The consequences. That everybody is trying to enjoy for his own sense gratification, for his selfish desires. And that's why so many bad consequences are happening. So because of this propensity, the living entity is entangled in this. There's a simple reason why everybody is entangled. Because we have this propensity to enjoy separately from Krishna. We don't want to acknowledge that everything belongs to Krishna, everything belongs to the Lord, and I should utilize everything in the service of the Lord. No, we don't do that, and instead we have this propensity to separately enjoy from the Lord, and then claim that everything belongs to me, or this thing belongs to me, this family belongs to me, and so basically we are claiming our proprietorship, but actually everything belongs to Krishna, everything belongs to the Lord. So because of this propensity, we are getting entangled. So this simple fact, if we understand that the Lord is the proprietor of everything, he is a proprietor, I am not the proprietor, then at that moment only we will become free from the entanglements, right? We'll realize that, oh, I'm not the proprietor of anything. Everything belongs to Lord. Even this body belongs to the Lord. This mind belongs to the Lord. The intelligence which I have belongs to the Lord. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I am the strength of the strong. I am the taste in the water. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Right? In nutshell, Krishna says, I am everything. So who are you to claim that this belongs to me, this person belongs to me, he's my relative, he's my family member, or this is me and this is mine? Who are we to say that? So this is very, very important point to understand. Just realizing this point, we become so much, we become free from all the entanglement. At that moment only, the whole burden reduces and then we become free, become happy and blissful. And actually we become free from the reactions of our work. So we are responsible for our own acts. We are doing some activity and the reaction is coming. Then we are again responding to that, then another reaction is coming. So in that way the cycle is going on. So we are responsible for our own activities. The Lord is not responsible, right? Some people accuse the Lord that if something goes well in our life, then we say, we basically become happy, right? We don't acknowledge the Lord that, because of the Lord, the mercy of the Lord, it is happening in my life. But when something goes wrong in our life, then we accuse the Lord that it is only because of the Lord, that He is not helping me. He helps everybody, but He doesn't help me. So this kind of attitude again entangles one, right? So when we realize or when we acknowledge, but actually, the Lord is maintaining everybody and each and every, we are responsible for our own activities, and so we cannot accuse the Lord, right? That it is only because of you. Right? So there is a triangle: super soul, soul, and the material nature. So we can get the link or the connection between these three entities. So a soul desires. Okay, a soul desires that I want to achieve this, or I want to attain this, or I want to enjoy this, or I want to do this, whatever desire. Then what happens is the super soul is sitting within the heart. Right? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, in various other verses, that Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam, 18th chapter, verse number 61. Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjuna Tishtati. That Krishna says that Hridadeshe, in the region of the heart, I am sitting as Paramatma. Tishtati means I am sitting. I am residing as Paramatma in every living entity. Right? So Krishna is there as Paramatma. So, which is nothing but super soul. Paramatma means super soul. So a soul desires. This is a very, very important phenomena to understand. A soul desires, and then the super soul sees that, oh, the soul is desiring this. Then the super soul always tracking the soul, or he is always observing the soul neutrally. Then the super soul sanctions it. Okay, you have this desire, I sanction it. Then what happens is, because the Lord is the controller of the whole material nature, then the material nature is working under the Lord. And super soul is nothing but the Lord. He is non-different from the Lord. He is Lord himself. Paramatma is Krishna himself. So he directs the material nature. He orders the material nature. See, this soul is desiring this. O material nature, O Prakriti, sanction or fulfill the desire of this living entity. Fulfill the desire of this soul. So in this way, the material nature arranges internally and externally. Material nature arranges externally, and the super soul from within inspires that soul, inspires the living entity to act in that way. Right? This is what the Lord is doing. Ultimately, so here we can understand, this particular, we are discussing about this statement. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him the facilities through the agency of the material nature, the external. That's what we are discussing. That the soul desires that I want to do this, I want to enjoy this, but the material nature arranges it on the order of the super soul, the Lord. But it started with whom? Us, the living entity. So the desire was from the living entity, right? So we are responsible for our own acts, not the Lord. The Lord is just acting as a sanctioner, and the material nature is acting under the order of the Lord. That's it. We are responsible. Okay. So when one understands that I am responsible and the Lord is transcendental, he never wants to make any living entity suffer. If we are suffering, then it's my fault. I have to take responsibility, right? I have to realize this, and I have to take the shelter of the Lord. So then we become free from the reactions of the material, of this karma. So, um, so now finally we understand this, that in other words, the person who understands this material, this transcendental nature of the Lord, is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness. And he is never subjected to the laws of karma, right? One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord, and who thinks that activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, are as are the activities of the ordinary living entities, certainly becomes entangled himself in the fruitive reactions. So, how we can say that when we try to understand this transcendental nature of the Lord, that the Lord is never affected by the creation. He creates and then he is never affected. The Lord is always above the creation. And we are only, because of our own desires, we are getting entangled in this material world, right? And the activities of the Lord are divine. They are spiritual. They are not material. When we understand this, then what happens is we start to take the shelter of the Lord. When we understand the greatness of the Lord, and we understand our own position, the fallen position, the low grade position, we understand how small we are, how we are entangled in this cycle of birth and death, and how great the Lord is. What is the nature of the Lord? What is the position of the Lord? Then we start to take shelter of the Lord. We surrender to the Lord. When we start taking the shelter of the Lord, when we start praying to the Lord, then what happens is the mercy flows. The mercy flows. And when the mercy, this is a phenomenon. When the mercy flows, then we become free from the results or the reactions of whatever karma, whatever actions we have performed. That person becomes free from the reactions. And whatever the future, actions he is going to perform, he will become free, completely free. So this is how, the devotees are. The devotees are always taking shelter of the Lord. So, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that Sarva Dharman Parityajya, that is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshashyami Ma Shucha. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, to us actually through Arjuna, that oh Arjuna, just abandon all kinds of religions, everything. Just abandon all kinds of religion, and then just surrender unto me. Just simply surrender unto me. I will take care of you, and I will make you get rid of all the reactions of your actions in past or in future or in the present, whatever. Mokshashyami, and I'll award you the liberation. Mokshashyami, ma shucha, don't fear, just surrender unto me. So when a devotee surrenders unto the Lord, and then he just takes shelter of the Lord in every situation, and then whatever the Lord speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, he tries to implement that in his own life. That's what he's following, the instructions of the Lord. So then he becomes free from all the reaction. The Lord takes care. The mercy flows, and the Lord takes care, and that devotee becomes free from all the reactions, and he progresses in spiritual life, and finally attains the goal of life. Right. So this is what the final conclusion of this purport, that when we understand the position of the Lord, that the Lord is never, he's not material. He doesn't have material body like us, the bones, blood, urine, stool, mucus, muscles. He doesn't have the body like us. Right? And he's always transcendental, and he never gets affected by the creation. He creates this material world because we want to enjoy. We have this propensity to lord it over the material nature. He never gets affected. There is a verse in Sri Ishopnishad, I was just remembering today. Invocation of Sri Ishopnishad. There is Upanishad. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. You might have heard about this verse. It's very, very common. So here this verse is saying that the Lord is always complete. He never gets, let's say for example, in the material world, we have, let's say, a plate of rice. We take out some portion of rice, then we see that now a little amount of rice is remaining, right? But the Lord is not like that. Even if the Lord is creating the material world, there are so many emanations, so many expansions coming out of the Lord. Still, the Lord remains complete. He's always complete. Purnam eva avashishyate. Purnam means complete. And eva means certainly, always. Avashishyate means always there. Always he is complete. He is never, it's not like from, if we reduce, if we subtract 1 from 2, then 1 remains. No. In spiritual mathematics, 1 minus 1 is always 1. We subtract 1 from 1, still 1 remains. Because it's spiritual, right? So the Lord always remains full. He always remains complete. So when we understand this, that the material creation is happening, the Lord is creating this material world because we have this propensity to enjoy the material world. Separate from the Lord. We don't want to claim that, oh, Lord is the proprietor of everything. I am the enjoyer. I want to lord it over. I want to become the master. When we have this propensity, then the Lord creates. Okay, you have this. Again, the Lord fulfills the desires. He's very, very merciful. It's just like a father, right? The father, even though the Lord is, the son is crying that I want to, eat the chocolate or have this particular chocolate, but the teeth are spoiling. Still, the father will try to, enlighten the son that or child that, oh, if you eat chocolate, then already your teeth are spoiled, then it will become more spoiled. It will create more and more problems. But if the child is so much adamant, then what will happen? The father has to fulfill his desire, right? So in that way, Krishna is, he's feeling so much pain that, the living entities are going away from me. From the spiritual world, they are coming down to the material world. They want to enjoy separately. He's feeling so much pain. But still, what to do? He never takes away the free will of the living entities. So because if they have desire, no problem. Because Krishna loves everybody. So out of that love, out of the love of Father, he fulfills the desire of the living, of the son, of the child. So like that, Krishna fulfills the desire, he creates the material world. But Krishna is never affected by that. He's always transcendental, he's always full. That's what Sri Shoknishad is saying. He's always complete. He's always Satchidananda Vigraha. And he's always complete. So when we understand this, that the Lord is always complete, he's always transcendental, he's never affected by any kind of material work, then, and we understand that we are fallible, we are subject to getting entangled in the material world. Then we start taking the shelter of the Lord, that, oh Lord, I want to become free from this material entanglement. Please help me, oh Lord. And we start to intensely pray in that mood, when we start taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord, and we start taking shelter of the scriptures, trying to implement the scriptures in our life sincerely, then what happens? The mercy flows, the Lord becomes pleased. And then actually, we see the transformation in our life. We can see, if we ask the devotees, they can feel that transformation, that so many changes. Before we came to Krishna consciousness, then now when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, so many changes, so many transformations. The consciousness is getting transformed day by day. But it all depends on the sincerity and the mercy of the Lord. If the devotee is sincere, he accepts. The first step is acceptance. He accepts that, see, I am fallen. I know I have so many impurities within me, but I want to get rid of it. Please, Lord, please help me. He accepts his position first with humility, and he understands the position of the Lord, and he prays to the Lord intensely. Then the Lord starts acting in his life, and then the devotee is able to see the transformation slowly, gradually. So, but it all depends on the sincerity, the eagerness to attain the spiritual goal of life and to get purified, to get out of this entanglement of this material world. It depends on the sincerity and eagerness, and finally the mercy of the Lord. So when the Lord is merciful, so we get completely free from all the entanglements and attain the goal of life. So this is what this purport, this verse is talking about. And Krishna is saying, right, then who understands this truth about me does not become entangled anymore. This is the result of this knowledge, which is nothing but transcendental knowledge. So the chapter name is Transcendental Knowledge. And we can see like this, Bhagavad Gita brings transformation in the consciousness gradually, step by step, sequentially, when we try to sincerely understand Bhagavad Gita, implement in our life. So slowly, slowly we see the transformation and the life changes. So we will stop here. If anyone has any question, we can discuss. So the question is, Prabhuji's question is that the super soul knows that this particular desire of this soul may be harmful to him, right? But still the super soul sanctions that desire. Why? Right. So as we discussed when we were discussing, so the father knows that the chocolate will spoil the teeth of the child, and the father loves the child, right? So out of love, he first tries to enlighten the child, or tries to not give the chocolate to the child. Why? Because he wants to save the child, right? Because that will be harmful for the child. But the father loves the child. Out of love, he's doing that. But if the child is so adamant, so much adamant, then what to do? The father has to grant. If he's crying, he's just he's lying down on the let's say the father is the father and the son are walking in the market, and then the son just lies down on the road and he cries. He starts crying and then just cries and cries and cries, and he's very, very adamant. I want chocolate. I will not go home if you don't give me the chocolate. He's so adamant. Then what to do? I mean, to stop the child, he has to give. So that is out of love, right? Yes. So again, the love is based on the principle of free will, right? When we are attached to somebody, so what happens is we try to control that person, right? The attachment always leads to control. We try to control that person. Why are you not doing like this? Why are you doing like this? So we try to control. So, but the love is based on the principle of free will. So Krishna has given free will to every living entity, and he doesn't interfere in that free will. If the soul desires that I want to enjoy in this material world separately, obviously, again, one more aspect is Krishna creates the material world, but this is like a prison. So, okay, one question I will ask you. So, is prison for created for punishment or for reformation or the transformation of a particular person? Transformation. Obviously, punishment happens. Punishment is given, but the more important thing here to note is transformation. So that the person can, when he is actually in the prison and he is spending his whatever number of years in the prison, so what is expected out of him is he should get transformed. He should realize his mistake, that I did this mistake. It was a great mistake, but I'll not commit this mistake again anymore. I want to come out of the prison. I want to live a good life from now onwards. He realizes. So transformation comes. So prison is actually there. There's no need of prison, but because people are adamant to commit sinful activities and disobey the laws, so the government has to create the prison. But they give the punishment, but actual aim is transformation. So many times it happens that let's say the prime minister comes in the prison, and then he just goes through and he meets all the prisoners, and he feels that or if he gets to know that this prisoner is now getting transformed, he gets informed by the authorities. Then if the prime minister has this authority to order that now you can relieve him, right? So like that, I mean, the prison is created for transformation, for reformation, not for punishment. So similarly, the Lord creates the material world. He's feeling pain. He's feeling pain that, oh, my living entities are going away from me. They will suffer a lot there, right? And the aspect of free will is also there. That no, I cannot interfere in the free will of the living entities, because the Lord loves. That's the basis of love is free will, right? The principle is free will. He doesn't want to interfere in that free will. So he creates a material world. Okay, let them go, let them enjoy. But he also arranges, or he gives the signals to living entities all the time that, see, you are suffering. Please come back to me. Why are you suffering? From so many lifetimes you are suffering and suffering. You're getting entangled. Come back to me. You will be happy again. Let's reunite again. That's what the purpose of yoga is. Yoga means union, right? To reunite with the Lord. So he creates a material world, but the material world is also acting as a place of transformation, right? So these are the things. I mean, he doesn't want to interfere in the free will of a living entity. He's feeling pain, but what to do? He has to create, because that is out of love. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, this is a very, very nice or interesting question, logical question. But what happens is, because we are, entangled in this material world from so many lifetimes, so we have the soul. The soul never changes. The soul takes different types of bodies. That is at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna establishes this fact, right? The soul never changes. The same soul is moving into different types of bodies in one life after life. So now in every lifetime, the soul engages in different types of activities. It can be sinful or pious. Now let's say the soul has engaged in sinful activities, then the reactions will come. Let's say in previous lives, I murdered someone, or let's say I died because of drowning in the water, or I fell off from a tall or long building, right, and I died. So if I remember those kinds of incidents in this life, will I be able to live in this life peacefully? No. So that's why what Krishna does is he purposefully wipes off the memories. You can get that desire, right? That I want to practice spiritual life. I want to, get rid of all these material entanglements, and I want to, become happy. So you will endeavor to practice spirituality, Krishna consciousness. So what happens is, when we practice spirituality, Krishna consciousness, then the sukriti which we get, or the spiritual credits which we get, they never get lost, right? For in the past life, if I have practiced bhakti, if I practice devotional service, then let's say I completed 10% of my devotional service. Then what happens is that same 10% will continue. And then in the next life, I will start from 11%. So the spiritual credits never get lost. The bhakti never gets lost. Right? Krishna consciousness never gets lost, whatever credits I have acquired. But the material assets which I am acquiring now, they get lost. So obviously, see, the thing is, we are practicing Krishna consciousness, but we are also engaging in the material activity. So in that way, what happens, we are becoming entangled, but whatever we are practicing, the Krishna consciousness, that will remain intact. That we will continue from from that point onwards in the next life. And when we actually complete the whole 100%, we can say, obviously, there's no measurement at what is 100%. But yes, if we gradually become advanced in Krishna consciousness by the mercy of the Lord, then what happens is, then that lifetime is the last lifetime. We'll go back home, back to Godhead. That's what you got the answer? Yes. Yeah. But Krishna wipes off the material memories purposefully, because, and in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that smritir jnanam apohanam, so means everything, the smriti, the jnana, and apohanam, forgetfulness. Let's say we forget something, right? Or we remember something, or the jnana, the knowledge. Everything is coming from the Lord, from Krishna. So he purposefully, at the time of when we get the new body, when we are in the womb, so at the time of getting the new body, purposefully wipes off the memories of the past lives, so that we can live in this life peacefully, and then we can focus on the goal of life. Otherwise, we'll get so many thoughts we will get, and we'll get disturbed in that only. How we'll be able to practice bhakti? How we'll be able to focus positively in present life, in Krishna consciousness?
How did it become different than God? Who was the first person who demanded for
Okay,
material world?
so before answering this question, we would like to end this class here. If anybody would like to sit, they can sit, or they have any other question they can ask. But otherwise, we can. Means if we are getting late, so we can end the class here. I can answer the question. So, what was the question?
What was the need of creating the, who was the first person who demanded for the material world? If God created the first person from himself,
Hmm.
he should be identical to God. He should have not demanded from material world. What was the need for material world? Why did he demand for material world?
Okay. By the way, before going to this, in the second chapter, Krishna says that I am unborn, and the living entities are also unborn. He's telling about the living entities that, oh Arjuna, you are unborn, beginningless. Then it's very difficult to comprehend, because we always think in terms of time factor, right? That we were discussing in our class. I was attending a course, time factor. That in the material world is governed by the time factor. Okay, that there is a beginning, there is an end of everything. But in the spiritual world, everything is eternal. When you say eternal, then where is the beginning? You cannot think of it, right? And where is the end? Again, you cannot think of it. So when we say eternal, right? So there is no time factor there. Time factor is in the material. That's why whenever there is time factor, the time is governing beginning of something. The time is governing end of something, because with time everything deteriorates. So it's like a Gaussian curve. So something begins. For example, we get this body. The body grows. There's a peak, and then it dwindles, and then again the body deteriorates, and then it dies. It's like a Gaussian curve. So, so everything has beginning and end. This Krishna only confirms this in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So, but in the spiritual world, on the spiritual platform, there is no beginning and end, because everything is eternal, right? That is the basis. So we cannot even think, because we are what to say. We have this tendency to think in terms of time, beginning and end. So we cannot comprehend, like, when he created the material world. When the spiritual world came, when the living entities got emanated from the Lord. When was my beginning? Right? I'm a living entity. I came from the Lord. When was my beginning? We cannot comprehend this. And Krishna is saying you are unborn. You are beginningless. There is no beginning, because everything is eternal. So it's very difficult to comprehend at this level of conditioning. It's very, very difficult. So when we go back to God, maybe Krishna can reveal. That's another thing. Or if Krishna wants to reveal, he will reveal. That's the thing. That's the fundament. Any other question? He created
Many souls.
they got emanated from him. Yes.
He could have mounted them there. What was the need of getting separated from the souls?
He could have.
Means they could have lived there with the supreme soul. But what was the need they got separated from that soul?
Okay. Separated means what? You are saying they came to this material world? In that terms, you are saying separated, right? They could have stayed in the spiritual world. Again, we talked about this, right? Because Krishna, out of love, because he loves every living entity, because they are his parts and parcels. So, being the source of all the living entities, all the souls. So, out of love, he never takes away the free will. He has given the free will to the soul to desire. This desire is in our hands. Krishna never takes away this desire, this free will of desiring. Right? He helps in executing that desire through the material nature, but the desire is completely ours. He cannot take away that. He has given us this free will. So out of that free will, he cannot interfere in that free will, right? Because that is the basis of love. Again, we talked about this. So when a living entity gets this tendency or this desire to enjoy separately. He sees that why only Krishna is the supreme enjoyer? Why only Krishna is the center of everything? Because in spiritual worlds, Krishna is the center of everyone, everything. He is the center. He is the master. He is the enjoyer, right? In chapter 5, verse number 29, Bhagavad Gita, um, Krishna says that I am the enjoyer, right? I am the benefactor of all the living entities. I am the source of everything, right? So he is the center. Why I am not the center? I also want to become the master of everybody. I want to become the master basically. There, everybody is a servant of Krishna, and they are so happy in serving Krishna, right? So blissful. More than Krishna, the living entities enjoy. The living entities experience more bliss than Krishna. Means because when they are serving, then then they are also getting pleased. But the happiness is more than Krishna actually. In serving Krishna, there is more happiness, more blissfulness. So, but the thing is, somehow or the other, if the living entity somehow or the other desires or gets this desire that I want to enjoy separately from Krishna, then immediately, blink it. Immediately, we cannot say in a fraction of seconds because there is no time factor there. Immediately, the living entity falls down and he takes birth in this material world. When we say birth, soul is spiritual, but he gets the material body. And the material nature gives this body to the soul, and then Krishna, through material nature, he gives this opportunity to the soul. Okay, now you become enjoyer. Try to become master. You want to become master now? Okay, now enjoy. Try your best here. But obviously, we get frustrated because we cannot become enjoyer. We cannot become the master anytime. We're always the parts and parcels of Krishna. So the answer to your question is free will. Why, right? Why Krishna has, why the living entities come here? They get separated from Krishna and come here because of the free will and the desire to enjoy separately, to become the master. And then those living entities who realize that no, I cannot become master. I'm always a part and parcel of Krishna. I'm always subservient to Krishna, right? I cannot become the master anytime. When they realize, then they start taking shelter of Krishna again and again. So that's what the purpose of yoga is. Yoga means to unite, reunion, right? Union with the Lord. When the living entity meets the Lord again, union. So then again, the living entity turns his face towards Krishna, and again he starts reviving the relationship. Relationship is always there. We have love for Krishna, but the thing is, that is covered because of our tendency to enjoy. That is covered, and then we are trying to enjoy here separately. When that covering gets removed slowly by practicing of bhakti, then slowly become purified, and we start to realize our relationship. That relationship becomes revealed again. It's not a new thing. We have dormant love for Krishna, but the thing is, it gets covered because of that desire which we had at the starting. That's it. Understand, right? So the answer is in 2 words: free will. Free will to enjoy. Any other question? Yeah, but the most important thing actually to note here is, or the conclusion, we have to get to the conclusion also, right? That we have to practice Krishna consciousness, we have to practice bhakti, we have to read Bhagavad Gita, we have to take the shelter of scriptures and understand scientifically. The scriptures are so scientific. So scientifically we have to understand who is Lord, who are we, and then what is our relationship. That's what we have come here for, right? To transform. This is the transformation we have to go through. When we practice Krishna consciousness, then slowly our sambandha gets revealed to us, right? It becomes strong. The sambandha means the relationship. It gets revealed again. The covering gets removed. So then we get purified slowly, and the goal of life is to again go back to God. That's the thing. That is the purpose of all the scriptures. That is the verdict. So the whole thing boils down to this: practicing Krishna consciousness, reading Bhagavad Gita every day, sincerely implementing it in our life. We'll see the transformation. So today I was hearing this in the class that, so there was a quote actually, one of the Maharajas, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, that everything can be judged by the results, right? Or in Sanskrit, there's a phrase called "Phalena Parichay." Phalena Parichay means we can judge something by phal, by the result. So now we are seeing that this Krishna conscious movement is expanding, not expanding, exploding. It's like an explosion. It's exploding, and so many people are coming in touch, in contact with this movement, and they're getting purified. And they're able to see when they chant the holy names, when they read Bhagavad Gita, they are able to see the transformation. This is the result. They are becoming happy. This is the result. So by its result, we can judge, right? That how Krishna conscious movement is touching the lives of people. So if now it's up to us, again free will. It's Krishna will never interfere, but he will arrange a way. He will inspire us through the devotees, or he will guide us from within as super soul. But now it's again up to us whether we want to take this opportunity or not, right?
The best job on the material world would be to serve others, to reach Krishna more easily.
Yes.
I have made commitment that I will be most highest paid software engineer or scientist.
Mhm.
So how can I achieve going back to spiritual world without serving others? Or I have to take a legal commitment as I have made the commitment.
What commitment you made?
I have made a commitment that I will follow one path and may become the best scientist or the software engineer. I will not serve others. But serving others is one of the easiest ways to go back to
Okay.
spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
So as I have made a commitment and I will be following that path,
Uh.
do I have to take one more birth or is there a solution that following this path I can reach the spiritual world?
Yeah, I mean, you want to say that I have this goal, I have the desire that I want to become a very very wealthy person. I want to become a scientist, a very very great scientist, and I want to really contribute to the society in that way, or whatever. This is your goal or desire. But you also say that, but without serving others, or rather, we should say without serving the Lord, we cannot, because when we serve the Lord, automatically we serve others. So then we cannot go back home back to Godhead. Can I follow this path and achieve that goal, going back to Godhead, or I have to take another birth and follow the second path? Yeah, actually, see, the thing is, there's only one path. The only thing is we have to mold our life in achieving that goal, right? In achieving the goal, we have to mold the life. For example, if we become a great scientist, then do the research. Now, prove the laws which are given in the scriptures. Prove it. Prove to the world. You know, increase the glories of the scriptures. Now, so many researches are happening on cow urine, on the stool of the cow, right? The cow dung. So it's so much purifying and sanctified, and it has medicinal properties also, right? But the science is also proving. Science is only proving that, right? And many times they are able to perceive that the near death experiences. People are able to many people have revealed that I got the near death experience. I was able to see. I was able to perceive or experience that I came out of the body, and then again I went into the body. Near death experience. I came out of the body, again I went into the body. So many people are, many case studies are there. What to say, authorized case studies. And there are so many cases of rebirth, reincarnation. So prove these things. Or there are many, you can do, we can do the experiments and then scientifically prove the verdicts which are given in the scriptures.
Do science for humanity.
Yeah. Basically, you can mold your life, whatever you're doing, your path. Yes, in Krishna consciousness. If you become a wealthy person, utilize that money, for the service of the Lord and the society in general. Because when we serve the Lord, for example, we distribute prasad. So donate money so that we can cook more and more prasad, offer to the Lord, the prasad, right? And we can distribute to more and more people. More and more people will become purified by having that prasad. We can do that. So what we can do, we can mold the path, and then we can attain the goal of life in that way. We have to mold our life. to practice Krishna consciousness. That's it. So in Bhagavad Gita also, no, Krishna didn't say Arjuna, or didn't ask Arjuna to leave everything. He says that, so you see the fight, the battlefield of Kurukshetra was there, the setup was there, and at the end also Arjuna fought actually, and he fought to win, right? So Krishna didn't speak any time that, okay, Arjuna, you don't want to fight, okay, no problem, it's good, leave, just let's go back, let's take the chair. I'm the driver, I'll take you back. No, he inspired Arjuna to fight to win, fight to win. That's it. So molding the life so that I can practice Krishna consciousness and favorably, and then I can attain the goal of life. That's the key. But yeah, if we are not doing that, if we are just concerned about earning money and then using it for my own self, it's very, very important to understand. If I'm using it for my own self, I don't want to utilize it for the Lord, then we will be entangled. Then for sure, we have to take new birth and more births. I don't know how many births. That's the thing. So what is our intention behind doing something? Again, transformation of consciousness. What is my consciousness? Why am I earning money? I have to utilize for Krishna consciousness, not for my own sense gratification. Because I will not get anything. I'll just get suffering out of it. I'll get more and frustration when I work for myself. It's my own sense, pleasing my own senses. But when I utilize everything, my body, my intelligence, my mind, these are given to me by Krishna. And then the money and all the assets, understanding that everything belongs to the Lord. When you utilize those, then actually we become purified, and then we become free from all the entanglement. That's what we discussed today, right? We understand the position of the Lord, utilize everything for the service of the Lord. When we serve the Lord, again, your next aspect of the question. So then automatically we serve everybody. When we are distributing prasad, we are distributing books, people are getting transformed. We are serving everybody, right? That's the greatest service. That's it. Molding the life. That's it. Any other question? Okay, I think it's too late. Okay, so we can end the class here, and so we can, like this. Bhagavad Gita inspires us in every aspect of life, in every sphere of life. So let's take this vow that we can read Bhagavad Gita at least one verse a day, and we will see the transformation. That's for sure. There's no doubt in it. So there is an app. Before ending the class, we can see that there is an app which was launched by ISKCON Whitefield, Shloka a day, right? And this app is getting so many reviews, and then people are actually expressing their gratitude that is helping us a lot, right? Because so easily the Bhagavad Gita is accessible. Because why? I'll show you. So this app is there. Let me pull it on the, you'll be able to see or not. You can maybe right away open the Play Store and it'll be something like this, the grayish background, Shloka a day. And its name is Shloka a day. Shloka means the spelling is S-L-O-K-A, not S-H, S-L-O. S-L-O-K-A, Shloka a day. So the logo will be like this. There's a grayish background, and there's a book which is opening. And ISKCON's logo is there in between. Yeah, so this one. So you can download this, and if I show you inside, see, every chapter of Bhagavad Gita is there. All the 18 chapters. If you just click on, let's say, the second chapter, then you see all the shloka, shloka 1, shloka 2, shloka 3, right? And then you can open, you can click on any shloka. Then you see there is a video which is coming up. Okay? So you can see there's a video. A very nice point about compassion is given. And what is the duration of the video? See, 3 minutes. No, not 3 minutes. Maybe 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, or 11 minutes max. So short videos. So this is the, like this, many people are getting benefited, because nowadays the span, attention span is very, very less. So intentionally we have, the speaker has recorded this videos, short videos, so that people can get easily benefited, and in less time also they can understand Bhagavad Gita. And then there is text also. You can scroll through the text. Yeah. You can see the video, one video a day. That's why its name is Shloka a day. In one day, one Shloka. That's it. So it is very, very beneficial. I mean, so many reviews are coming, so many people are expressing their gratitude. And it's spreading all across the world, not in India, not just in India. It's spreading all across. Many people abroad also are using this. So we can get benefited by this. And you can also share with others. So it's very beneficial. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.